between Dallas and LA.
You said Dallas and LA?
Yeah.
Really? What
hmm
part of LA?
well, technically Malibu was where I was living for like the last 4 or 5 years because I was at Pepperdine, alma
Right, right,
mater.
right, 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 right. Yeah.
Yeah,
You did grad school or undergrad at Pepperdine?
undergrad. But I'm trying to figure out where I want to go to grad school right now. I got like the opportunity of a lifetime to get all my school paid off. So I'm like, I'm about to take this and run. I'm going all the way, fully credentialed with all the way.
What kind of opportunity is that?
So I got super lucky, and my parents were both military, and they were just like, "Hey, we're paying off everybody's student loans and your kids." I'm like,
Really?
"Yes, if you have a military parent, yes, all of y'all that are listening, you can get that educational benefit and get all your school paid off." I'm taking this thing and running like Reggie Bush,
What
and, and so
what qualifies as a military parent?
I think so. Both my parents were just they were in the Air Force, but like way back. And I don't know, they just like, hey, what can we do with the VA? Walked in there and they were like, oh yeah, you qualify. So if you just go to the VA and you're like, hey, my parents were in the military for
Yeah.
X amount of time, you might be able to qualify to get that school paid for.
My dad is retired Navy. Um,
Yo, get yeah his educational benefit. If he didn't use it to pay for
if
his
you
college,
look,
you could still be eligible
I
for it.
got more. I got more student loans than everybody in this whole chat. So
Listen, I was six
yeah,
figures deep. I was like 120, 130 deep. So
that private school is no joke.
at all.
Let me pull up this. That is crazy. I had a feeling there had to be. It didn't make any sense because my dad he finished. He retired military, but he
hmm
didn't go to college. And I was like, he has a GI Bill that's being unused. Why can't I get access to that? It just never made any sense to me logically.
You
Um,
can.
so that would be a blessing for
Yeah,
my
if you
net
want to
worth.
know the process, just like DM me or something, or hit me up, and I can tell you what we did to get it. Like basically, he'll have to just transfer it to you, and then
Wow,
they just
that's crazy.
yeah, it was
I need that in
lit.
my life.
Boy, you never seen somebody praise dancing like me when I found out when I got that email. You ain't never seen somebody.
That's crazy.
I was turned up.
It's all federal funding anyway. It's just a line item for them.
Yeah, literally, yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, man.
So, welcome to the MVP Options Community Conversation. This week we picked Hunter. She has been super active and super helpful and getting a ton of just great things being said about her in the community. So, I wanted to allow her to kind of give you guys more information about who she is because it's like you see things inside of like you don't really know people are real people.
Mm,
So, I wanted to make sure people knew that people are real people.
wow.
So, welcome
Okay.
to the MVP Options community. You are MVP. We need to send you a shirt. I'm gonna make some shirts made. Get some
Yes. Look.
send it
Yes.
out. Send it out to Dallas. If you ever come out to LA, we'll have to do Tomahawk Tuesday.
Yes.
It's turning into like a tradition out here. Everybody
Yes.
wants to do Tomahawk Tuesday at Fleming's. It's the only fake restaurant. It's on Todd Capital too. So just let me know.
Let's
Um,
go.
I owe you way more than that. You add a ton of value to the community. So hats off to you. The first question I always ask people, let me pull up my questions.
Ooh.
Um, and make sure you guys are taking notes. Um, where are my questions? Dang it. Did I use a different? Alrighty. So the question is, who are you and where are you from?
Oh, who am I? Well, my name is Hunter Elizabeth Cawley, the full government name right here for y'all, real quick. I'm from Dallas, Texas, born and raised. Actually, in a little like suburb, Garland, Texas. It's home to nothing. No one knows what the city is, so I just say Dallas. Um, yeah, I am 23. I just graduated from Pepperdine University. Uh, Cancer survivor. I a basketball player. I was like top 200 women's basketball player in the nation in 2015. Got cancer 10 days after my 18th birthday, and my life kind of was it was going kind of nuts. And all the schools that were looking at me for athletics, they left. All of them just disappeared in an instant. But thankfully, I work hard in school. I really do. So I had a great GPA, got into Pepperdine, and the rest is history. Played basketball at Pepperdine for a season, and I've just been rocking out. And my life is awesome. My life is, I'm so blessed. I am so blessed.
Um,
Yeah.
that's dope. So
Yeah.
you went to college. I always like to ask people, what was your life like growing up? So
Mhm.
what was that like your early years?
So it was actually really rough growing up for me. I had a stepdad who's military, real rough guy, really abusive, and I used to never want to be at home. I would always like pour myself into schoolwork because school was the only time where I would be like told, you know, you're worth something, you're valuable, you're good, you can do something right, right? And so I used to go to the gym all the time because like it would be like physical altercations when I would get home. And I'm, you know, he's a grown man. I'm like a 15-year-old girl. I used to lift weights super heavy. And because I would pour myself into my schoolwork and my athletics to get away from home, I became a phenomenal person on the court and off the court in the classroom. I just took all of the bad in my life and I always wanted to make something good from it. And I always knew that I was going to make it. I was going to be something big, didn't matter what they said. So I always lived my life knowing that although it's a bad time, it's not a bad life. And it was hard. It was really hard growing up when you're like, you know, a kid and you don't hear anything positive at home. But I just you have to kind of dig deep and look inward, you know. Uh, I was really deep into my faith. I've been in Christian school my whole life, so I was like, you know, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, man. I'm here with a purpose. Like I got something good in me, some light in me. I don't see it yet, but it's coming. So every day, you know, I would just work hard and I would be the best version of myself that I could possibly be. And I still, to this day, like I know that I haven't made it, but I'm getting there. I'm getting closer. I'm helping people. And yeah, like working with Todd Capital. Look, every day is a good day, you know? Hey, I have a good time. This is a great life. It is a great life.
It's interesting because I feel like at your age,
Mhm.
early 20s, right?
Yep, 23.
It's like I feel like sometimes we have this heightened idea of what we think we should have accomplished by now,
Yeah.
and it can sometimes weigh on you because you're like, man, like I got a college degree, I went to a good school, I should be doing this, this, and this, but you're making steps towards that, which is dope. So,
Yeah.
um, so you graduated college. Where did you go from there? What did that look like for you?
So I graduated literally a month and one day ago, and I was
Really?
applying. Yes, like literally like just a month ago, I graduated. All the way up until then, I was still in class and everything. And I don't know, I was applying for jobs and looking around, and I was like, I don't want a job. These people are trying to pay me peanuts. I don't want that. I'm gonna start trading options. I'm gonna work with Todd Capital. And literally, my mom, bless her soul, she's so kind, she was like, yeah, just come, you can stay with me because my little brother left for college a couple weeks ago. So I'm living with my mom and she's letting me stack up my paper and I'm just trying to run it up, man. I'm trying to come back out to LA and get some rental properties going, get the whole thing going. Look, I'm following in your footsteps. I'm watching what you're saying. I can see it. I can see it.
um, what did you get your undergrad degree in?
Political science, funny enough, but it wasn't my intention to get a degree in political science. I was supposed to be a business major, but my sophomore year of college, I was just, oh my God, Charles, I was so broke. Literally, like, don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of type broke.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I have $100 to my name. I have 3 days until I'll get some more money. I need to do something with my life. I don't want to be a loser. I'm better than this. So I decided to create my own social media marketing agency. So I poured that $100 into this guy. I was giving mentorship. I was like, look, I don't have the $400 to do this mentorship, but what I do have is drive. What I do have is charisma. What I do have is a brain. And if you're willing to give it to me like $100 each week, you don't have to give me the whole thing at once. Just break it down each week. So I started my own social media company with that $100, and it totally it took off, and it got to the point. where I was working when I was in school and I was trying to like do both at the same time. And my clients were like, "Oh my God, Hunter, this is amazing." One of my clients got picked up. He got like to talk with Spike Lee. I'm like, what in the world? This is a little $100 business venture. I wasn't supposed to be getting people connected with A-listers, but I ran it up and I managed to, turn $100 into about $4,000 in maybe 2.5, 3 months. And it got to the point where I was like, my grades started to slip. And the dean was like, "Look, Hunter, like, you didn't pass this math class and we're going to have to kick you out of the international business school." At the time I was studying, I speak a little Chinese actually. So I was trying to go to China to do my business. Thank God I didn't go now that we know what's going on, but God has a way, right? Like I was so devastated. I'm like, I am smart. Like I can do math. Like please, like, I have my own business. And they're like, "No, you can't get a business degree from Pepperdine, an international business degree." So I was like, all right, fine. I'm about to run it up on you, MFs, and y'all about to want me to come back to speak, and I'm not taking nothing shy of 500,000, 500 bands to come and get me to speak, and I'm gonna pay off somebody's student loans with it. So I was just like, you know what? Fine, fine. I don't have to have credentials to be great. And then, kind of a little while afterwards, probably about a year later, is when I ran into you and just started looking at options and was like, wow, I could really change the game for myself, my friends, for other people. And I was still in school trying to get this degree, trying to, I'm the first in my family to actually graduate from a 4-year university like this. So I was like, look, I'm about to just trailblaze and I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care if it's not, the sexy job and I got to get it out the mud. One of these days I'll be sexy sitting up in a nice house, nice everything. But for now, it's time to work and run it up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Still super young. You have so much ahead of you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So where did you get your initial capital to start trading options?
So initially, I literally was saving like barely anything. It was right before like the big COVID shutdown. I just happened to get on a come up. I had worked a job over the summer after I got kicked out of the business major, and I worked in the housing office at Pepperdine. And I just was like an intern. I didn't think they were actually going to pay me. And come to find out, like right before everything shut down, I got a check in the mail and it was for $746. And I was like, oh, this is like, because the $4,000 that I did get, I was sending it back home to make sure we could pay bills and keep the lights on. That's why I was working. It wasn't even for me to enjoy. It was like to make sure my family was okay. So this was the most money that I'd actually ever got to hold in my hands. And I remember I took it down to the bank in Malibu and I got it in ones just so I could see what $700 felt like. And I was like, oh, holding this money. Now it's like, that's nothing compared to what I got now. But it's like, I was using that as fuel. I was like, this is going to be my empire, this cash right here. So I was way less financially literate and I bought an obscenely priced dinner with part of the money. But then I had about 500 bucks left, and I put it into the account and I started working on strategy. And, it was rough at first, dwindled down to about 300 bucks. And finally I was like, no, I have studied too many lectures. I have worked too hard to allow myself to go out this sad. And the next day, my account went from 300 bucks to about 1,200 bucks. 1,200 to 14, 14 to 15, dropped to about 13, and then skyrocketed to $6,600 in about 20 days.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm going to ask you what your early trades look like, but I want to know where you went to dinner.
You would be so upset. Have you ever heard of Sunset?
No.
It's in Malibu, like right over by the cove. If you ever go down that direction, you'll know that it's too expensive for me to ever have dreamed of going because you'll just see the cars passing.
Right. Like cars and valet parked outside or something.
Yeah, it was in like Malibu, right on the beach.
Malibu was super baller style.
Oh yeah, I know. So I went where I followed where all the billionaires were, and I just hung out. I literally just watched. Like that was the point. Like every day, you open your blinds, you see billionaires racing their yachts like across the water. You hear Ferraris racing in the evening. I'm like, bro, I have to go to school here. Like this is me. Like I gotta go.
I love it.
So yeah,
I do it all the time. I was like, I love beach cities.
yeah,
It's just like that's where the money is at. And then when you get around money, you start to think differently. Your mind expands. You
literally.
see how people live, you're just like, this is possible?
Yes.
And you don't gotta settle. A lot of us, I think we just settle. It's not that we can't get it, it's we settle for what we've seen.
Hmm.
And so you gotta get out and you gotta see different things. So that is dope. I can definitely relate. What did your early trades look like?
So my first couple of trades, I remember I think my very first trade ever was actually TLT. And it was like just after the bottom had hit. It was like the tail end of April. And I was like, I don't know much, but I know that bonds and stocks are like opposites. So, like, why not? Just kind of threw my money in there and I made like, gosh, I probably made like a couple $100.
Hmm.
Totally squandered it afterwards. Played Kroger. Got some money on that too after the toilet paper hoarding thing was going on. Their earnings are great. And then just squandered it on small plays. I think what else was it? I played like stocks that I had no business trying to trade in. I was just like, I see people getting money. I'm about to get in on it. And then I would look at my account and it's like, I'm like, oh. So I had to
Yeah,
work on that strategy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how have you evolved since then? What are you doing differently now to allow you to be successful versus what you were doing in the beginning?
Oh yeah. Listen. So when I first started trading, at first I didn't really know what to do. Like I was so happy when I finally finished your course and I was like, okay, so I understand the fundamentals of how to trade an option. And I was like, oh, but I can't afford anything that's in the money anymore because I was being stupid. So I'm like, let me figure this out. There's got to be a way for me to run this up. And I was watching lectures. Literally, God bless my friends and all my roommates at the time because I would literally leave our TV in the living room on YouTube running lectures on options. I didn't know what they were talking about, but I just kept sitting there. If I was, in class, I would be listening to lectures. I would be reading things. Literally immersed myself in everything options trading. Because when I first started, I was a little bit nervous. I was like, I don't even know if I can be an admin. Like, I'm not all that good. And you were like, you know, like go, like it's sink or swim, go, like
That to
do
people
it.
a lot. I'll be throwing
Yeah, you
my like,
literally just
water.
like you have to answer. You have to get in the group and say stuff, do something. And I kid you not, Charles, for probably 4 or 5 days straight, all I thought about, all I talked about, all I did and focused on was options trading. And I learned all the Greeks. I understood the patterns and the way the market moved. I was like deep in there. And finally, you were like, sink or swim, let's go. And I was like, all right, I'm going to swim. Forget the sinking. I don't sink. I don't sink. That's just not what I do. I swim. So I was like, let's go, let's get it. And that's when everything changed for me. And then when your friends start saying, wait a minute, what are you doing? How are you running up your money like this? Wait a minute. You're acting a little different. What's going on? I'm like, yeah, because I'm thinking different, bro. Because I'm thinking different. So that's kind of how I ran it up. Like you helped push me over the mental hurdle, and I'm grateful to you for taking a chance on somebody who didn't believe in themselves. Because look at me now. Like I would have never, ever in my wildest dreams been here. Ever.
Um, man. So you were watching YouTube videos. Any books that you read?
It was less books, and I think more. I bought. Oh my goodness, I couldn't even tell you the names of people in like money Twitter whose content I was consuming. Literally just whatever I could get my hands on. If I came up on a couple extra bucks, I'm like, wait a minute, let me go ahead and flip this into some knowledge. Like
Yeah.
to everybody in this group, if you hear nothing else I say, an investment in yourself has unlimited ROI, period. If you take that information, you can flip it into $1 million. These Gumroad courses don't have to be filmed on the nicest, latest, greatest. You just take the information, work hard, and apply it to your own life, and you can change it, period. For real.
It's so funny because I think people see how affordable gumroad courses are, and they think that there's no value there.
Mhm.
But Chris has kind of created this culture of providing more value than what you charge for. And so Shauna has great content. I'm sure you have some great content, and it's all affordable. And so what I did this weekend is I just spent the whole weekend watching courses. Um, and you'll be so far ahead that Monday by investing that weekend and binging content. You won't even really realize it, but you'll just see stuff different. You'll be more confident when you see things.
Yep.
And so you might not get this immediate revelation, but you'll feel like you'll be in a good space come Monday. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to encourage people to do that. That's one of the things that I'm doing, and doing these things, getting on the conference calls that you guys are in. Like she said, is like as much content as you can immerse yourself in. It's gonna give you that edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
What particular YouTube channels are you watching your YouTube videos?
Oh man, you know what? Every time I get the opportunity in the group, that dude in the money, Adam, he's like a white dude with a little list. He's so tight to me. He's so tight to me. His game is on lock. I have learned so much from him. And then this dude Josh, he does like the trading fraternity. He's super great, and he trades the whole day. I really like his content. You can just literally just leave the stream on in the background and listen to what he's talking about. I didn't know anything about trading, but as I listened to his, his YouTube more and more and more every morning, I get up at like 5 because California time, right? Get up early in the morning, get
Yeah.
ready for that stock market, man. Got to wipe the crust out your eyes. Got to brush your teeth and try to listen to the podcast and everything. So that's those two guys put me on big time. In the money, Adam, and the trading fraternity. And Option Alpha, of course, number 3, definitely Option Alpha.
So I'm curious for the people who are watching this, how many videos do you watch per week? Because I'm curious. I think it would help to know. So if you could just type in the chat, like how many videos do you watch? 1, 2, 5, 10, 20? I'm just genuinely curious because I never really can know. We post the links, um, but we don't know if they watch the links. So, so
Yeah.
she said, Anjali said 6, Meredith said 5, iPhone user said about 3 per day.
Ooh,
This person says
Tiffany.
too many. And so my question is, if you guys are getting this content, are you seeing an improvement in your trades? Um, are the videos helpful? I'm kind of curious about that too. I feel like this is a big family. Everything I do is family oriented, man. Watch the Hunter Greeks video. It's only 30 minutes long. You gotta binge that. This person said they replaced Netflix with stock videos. That's smart.
That's the one. That's the one right there.
Uh,
I did the exact same thing. No Netflix, no Hulu, no nothing. I would wake up and it'd be like an options lecture on my laptop sitting beside my bed.
the funny thing is, you can still watch a little bit of Netflix, but you can't only watch Netflix. Like,
Yeah.
like I'll watch content and I'm like, all right, it's 8 o'clock. Let me just kind of tone everything down for a second.
Mm.
You definitely still got to put that time in. So that's dope. People are saying it's helpful. It's definitely a practice. Um, they said that the Hunter Greek videos where everything clicked. Ooh, so they haven't watched NBC or Netflix in a week.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see. What indicators do you use when you're trading?
Ooh, so this is actually where I'm about to get real controversial. I love a good controversy. Okay. So I actually do not use indicators. My strategy is based entirely off of one, looking at the 3 month chart and the 1 year chart, right? And then I go long. And then I also time my entry based off of market patterns because the market, yes, different days do different things, but for the most part, there's a morning sell off, right? And then when all the, New York stockbrokers at lunchtime, they want to go snort their cocaine and eat some surf and turf together. They go sell off their positions. The market goes a little dip. I get in on that dip and I ride off into glory during power hour. And I'm just long. That's me. Real controversial, but I just think it doesn't have to be complex. You just got to
Right.
take action, man. You just got to get in there.
That's all facts. I feel like people think it has to be complex, and that's what they're always looking for. Maybe there's this thing that I don't know. Maybe there's this indicator that I need that's not going to help me. that's gonna help me get it 100% right. Would you say that your trades are 100% right, or do you still kind of take some losses and kind of take it with like kind of a combination of wins and losses, but more wins than losses, or what's your ratio looking like?
Honestly, and this, I know people are going to think it's hard to believe, but I can show it with proof in my portfolio. I think I would probably take maybe 2 losses to every like 8 wins. That's why my portfolio is up the way it is. Like I'm up like almost 200% on like over the last 3 months or something like that. Like it's just it's all about going long. Like literally you can't go wrong when you find a nice steady uptrend on the 3 month chart and the 1 year chart has a great V recovery. It's like, what are the odds that today is the day the bubble pops and that the Fed doesn't come in with their money printers and like I'm cool. Get in nice and low at that sell off and then chill. Just forget about it. Like you already spent the money on a new pair of Gucci shoes or something. And then in 3 months or 2 weeks or however long, you pull it and you could really have some Gucci shoes if you wanted to. I'm like, look, don't make it too complex. Just go long. The stock market has historical data from like the last 12 decades going up at like 6 to 10%. Coronavirus has been bad, but it hasn't been a Great Depression type bad. We're okay for now. So get in where you fit in and ride that wave, bro. Ride that wave.
So you said you can't go wrong when you go long.
Absolutely.
So when you say entry, are
Mm-hmm.
you waiting for the stock to hit that point, or are you setting your strike price at that point?
So my strike price, actually, my strategy is entirely based off of analyst price targets. So I go and I look through like the first 5, maybe 6 pages of Google because I'm a huge nerd, right? And I look for the high estimate and I see like, is it founded in some kind of logic? Like, do they have a new product or service or acquisition that would make this price target lift make sense? Then I put like 4, 5, maybe even 6 months on it. And that's the bounds of my like out of the money play. So whatever the high estimate is, right? Anything above that is overvalued. So I'll pick a strike that's below that area and I get in, right? So the morning sell off, we understand that the mark is the midpoint between the bid and the ask. So it only makes sense that whenever your mark hits your low, that your bid is going to be below the low. That's when I get in. And then I have a little cushion of credit. And when it starts to bounce back up, then I'm sitting pretty. And if it's a red day, then I mean, any entry is going to be a good entry on a red day. So, yeah, that's my strategy. It's real. It's not sexy, but the check clears, and that's all I care about.
How long are you holding these positions before you sell?
Yeah. So it varies, right, from company to company. Some of them, I'm always playing off of news. So analyst price targets plus news equals a nice check. So what I'm doing is I'm playing the run up to like say, for example, my Apple position. I was like down $600 on it, but still up total like $875 because I got in nice and low a long time ago and I just rode the wave. I'm gonna keep riding the wave until the iPhone news hits. And then once that news hits and it explodes, then I'm gonna sell it to somebody else at the top and I'm gonna just dip off to the wins channel and celebrate with my people at TC.
So how are you finding this news? How are you able to kind of find out what's going to make sense?
Literally, Google is my best friend. I don't pay for all these crazy, like subscription services and things. Literally, all the information that you need to successfully trade is on google.com. You type in, Peloton analyst price target, Peloton news, Apple news, whatever it might be, and then just read like the first 5 or 6 pages of Google. I'm reading everything. If you think you know enough about this company, you're wrong and you don't. Once you feel like you don't know anything, that's when you're like, okay, maybe I've been thorough. Like I realize that there's something else to be learned, but it's all about reading. Like think of your hours that you spend reading as currency. Those hours literally convert to profits. Like that's it. Like putting in the time, you have to put in the time in order to get those wins. People think that it just happens because of a call out. No, people are really in the lab working after hours talking about look at this article that I found. I see people posting at 3 o'clock in the morning. I see y'all in the TC community posting at 3 a.m. That's what I'm talking about. That's it.
Yeah, that's dope. And I I forgot. I think I might have said like reading is work. And so it's like the reading is what's going to give you the rewards, that research. And it's like trying to know as much about that company because it gives you that edge. You don't want to be flying blind because when you start flying blind, now you're trying to figure out like, okay, well, what's a good ROI for me to exit? What's a good amount of money for me to exit? If you know the company, you know when to exit.
Yep, exactly. Like you're gonna say, like, oh, the news has already hit, the run up already came, the stock bounced, X%. Boom, I'm good. I'm in, I'm out. You don't need to get all the you said it best. You don't need all the profits, you just need some. The stock is gonna be there. The profits won't. People just need to learn to take some profit and get back in with house money whenever it dips again and then keep riding away. That's what I do. That's how I got 300 to 6,600. I've never in my life touched 6,600 bucks, but I was like, look, I'm gonna just keep it rolling. House
that,
money.
that's dope.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
one of the things that I love. Like I always tell people that investing is a way to kind of trick yourself into saving. And
yeah.
so it's just so dope because you listen to like Tone Talks. Some of you guys don't know who Tone Talks is, but his main thing is like the average African American family is worth like $1,700, not including the family car.
Hmm.
And then you see all these people with like 4-figure, 5-figure, 6-figure investment accounts, and I'm like, this blows all his statistics out of the water.
Yup.
Like they can't say we broke anymore.
No, no longer. That is over. That era is done. Done.
um, so I feel like we kind of talked about this, but I like to ask questions because sometimes if we've talked about it, but if I ask you the actual question, we get more value. So the question is, how do you determine a good stock?
Ah, yeah. So literally, when I do my one-on-ones, I like break this down into like extremely like deep detail. But basically, I'm looking for this 3 month chart, right? If I see a steady uptrend on the 3 month chart, right? It's got regular pullbacks. Every stock does. What comes up must come down, right? But if I see the stock is less than $100 and it's gone up like over 50% over the last 90 days, I'm trying to see what happened last earnings to make that pop over the last 90 days. Then I'm looking to see when the next earnings is, and I'm doing the same research looking for, right, any upcoming events, news, services, all those kinds of things, products, acquisitions, the whole 9 yards. And I'm looking at the 1 year chart. If I see a V recovery, and especially if it's a solid, healthy V recovery, and it's moved up, a healthy amount of dollars over the year, that's good to me because that means when it's undervalued, people buy it up. And, that's all that I care about. So if the market craps itself again, I can get in nice and low and understand that I'm going to ride it on to glory all the way, just like last time. Yeah.
On your watch list, well,
Mm-hmm.
so when you're looking for stocks, are you just buying whatever kind of fits that criteria, or do you have a certain amount of stocks that you watch that already fit that criteria?
I do, but I watch like, okay, so clearly, I'm pretty basic, so I do have Fang all on my watch list, right? Who doesn't? But
Smart. I don't think some people would do that by default. So that's very smart. It's smart because it gives you an idea of what's going on in the market.
exactly,
So
exactly.
if you don't have Fang, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, we highly recommend that you do so.
Definitely. And like also on top of that, so whenever I start, every time that I talk to somebody, I always recommend that they have three tickers need to be in your watch list if you are going to be a good trader. And this is a very controversial thing to say, but I'm sticking to my guns. Number one is SPY, right? The S&P 500. You need to know what's happening on the S&P 500. That's going to tell you pretty much the tone of the whole market.
Hmm.
Number two, TLT, stocks and bonds move inversely. So if you open up your watch list and you see that TLT is up, then that means probably SPY is down. And if SPY is down, people run to things like gold, bonds, silver, basically the precious metals and things that they can, that move inversely. And number three is VXX, the volatility index, right? Kind of moves inversely of SPY. So if you're playing SPY, you can use it to hedge your position, but obviously, you have to understand you doubled your theta exposure, so you want to make sure that you put some time on that bad boy. Let that thing do what it's got to do. Get that profit and then dip.
So
Yep.
LTVXX and SPY. That's
Yep.
so important because when you have an index, the index is made up of stocks. So if the
Yep.
index is going down, that's because in general, most of the stocks are going down. And so
Yep.
that can kind of manage your expectations. If you open up your account and you see your stocks getting hammered, you might think that it's just your stock getting hammered when in actuality the entire stock market is going down in that moment. So it kind of helps manage emotions, which helps you not panic sell.
Exactly.
Um, let's see. I think I asked you this, but how do you determine when you're going to exit a trade? Somebody also asked the question, it's like, what percentage ROI are you looking for?
Ah, that's cool. Okay, so here's the thing. To be completely honest with you, I'm not like trying to hit some particular goal. I'm more focused on looking at how the stock has been moving over the time that I've held this contract. And I'm paying attention to my implied volatility. But mostly, if like I understand that stocks rarely have those big, like, right, 10, 12, 15% movements. So I understand that most likely if it moved up 18% and there's no like news following that big news that made it pop, I can exit my position because things are going to go back down. And then once again, when that dip happens, I'm using that profit and going back in so that no matter what, I'm net positive. Like I could lose all the profit that I just made in this new position, but ultimately I'm just right back to where I started. I'm not any worse off or any better off. And best case scenario, it's a home run hit. And now I just use OPM, right? Other people's money to make me some more money. So I did what a billionaire would do. So ultimately, there is no end goal. It's see profit, make sense of why I have this much profit, and take profit.
Right.
Especially though, if like it's a shorter position, so like a month or so, I'm trying to just get in, get my profit, and dip.
100%.
Mhm.
Um, what would you say was your most successful trade?
Oh, easy, easy. I traded Amazon like back in June, I want to say. It was like probably the beginning of June. I do not know what came over me because it was that contract was like 60% of my portfolio, but I was like, I feel it. Like today's the day. I'm about to do it, right? So I buy it, and the first day it's cool. I get like a little $50 of profit. I'm like, oh, hey, I just traded Amazon. The next day, Charles, I was sitting in my lecture. We're talking like it was like politics of domestic terrorism, right? Like the most sad and gruesome class in political science. And I look at my phone and I'm up $3,000 like first thing in the morning. And I'm like, your heart gets one of these. Oh my goodness. And then I close my phone. I'm like, it's cool, it's cool. I'm gonna just be good, it's good. I'm trying to like like in the zone on this Zoom, right? And then my phone buzzes again, and it's my brother texting me. He's like, "Hey, how are you doing on the stock market today?" And I opened up my phone, and I was up $5,800. My portfolio was up like 200% on the day. That was whenever I took my account from like 1,200 to 6,600, and I was like, I literally I was so shook I didn't take profit. And then that's the day that the market, like, you remember that day that everybody in the chat was so, they went and cried in the car because the market tanked midday after everybody was doing real good and everybody got hyped. I was one of those people, and I ended up taking profit at like 3,800, which I still wasn't mad about. I was like, that's still $2,000 of profit, but that was like it literally happened in like an hour. I was like, this is like an old Honda Civic. Like I could like I'm like I just made a old Honda Civic right now, just sitting here trying to keep it cool with the poker face in class. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. I was like,
That's funny. When I hit, I definitely yell out aloud, like, "Yeah, I did
yeah,
it!"
yeah. I'm like trying to be cool on the Zoom. I'm like dancing my feet down low, like trying to. I'm like, but yeah, yeah.
That's cool. That is cool. I honestly, when I was your age, I wasn't stacking like that. So, but the interesting thing about it is I didn't have access to options. Like I had tried to get options approval, and they
Mhm.
just never allowed me to do it. I had like Scott Trade at the time, and I couldn't get it. And maybe it was because of how I set it up. Maybe it was like my risk tolerance was a certain thing or something. But I would apply, and I was like, "Bro, I have securities licenses. What are you talking about? Like, Series 7, I can't get options. I literally took a whole exam on options." The government thinks I can do this.
They wouldn't let you be great. They just wouldn't let you be great.
Yeah, but then Robin Hood stepped into the picture, and
Robin
the
Hood.
rest is history.
Yep.
Um, what led you to that Amazon pick? Because I think we should kind of dissect that. Like, what drew you to that? Let's talk about that piece.
So honestly, and this sounds really wild, but I was looking at Amazon's chart and like over the last couple of days before then, it had been moving, but it wasn't moving big. And I'm like, Amazon has been jumping. Like I'm looking at the chart and things are starting to look like flat and sideways for a minute. I was like, there's no way it's about to keep doing this. Either there's going to be a big move in one direction or the other. And there's no bad news coming up. Like Amazon has been like all my friends are ordering packages on Amazon. People are talking about Amazon all the time. It's been flying. There's no way that it won't do this. And then I caught it. I bought the contract on a day when it moved about like yeah, like $20. And then the next day was one of those like $150 moving days, and I was just like, it was unreal. So I was just looking at the charts, literally like, over the last month, it's starting to look a little bit sideways. Why is it going sideways? What's going on? Something is cooking. And I just, like, I was looking at the contracts and, like, there was high open interest and, like, the volume was, like, looking kind of, I was like, this is weird. Like, this doesn't seem like Amazon. I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and see what happens. And sure enough, that thing went stupid on me. I was like, ooh, ooh, Lord. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Um, what is your best advice to somebody who's looking to be successful trading options?
Mm. Honestly, and it's not even anything that's options related. Have confidence in yourself. Don't just follow the wave just because a bunch of people in the group are saying that they're getting in on a position. Sometimes you have to understand that there's people in this group who don't want to do the work. They just follow whatever's happening around them. And the smart money is doing exactly what you prepared on your due diligence. The smart money isn't always following the crowd. In fact, rarely is the smart money following the crowd. They're playing ahead of the game. Whatever everybody else is thinking about, they're 2, 3 steps ahead. So you have to think, okay, why is everybody looking at this? What can I look at while they're looking this way? Like you need to look left when everybody else is looking right and chasing the shiny thing, because then you're going to find your diamond in the rough. And guess what? They're going to come running to you. That influx of volume is going to come up. That implied volatility beefs up. And then guess what? You sell at the top, and somebody else that was just trying to ride the wave with everybody else buys that, and they get crushed and they get clapped. Then you go off to a white sand beach in some linen pants, drinking out of a coconut, talking about, guess what? I got this trading options. Come to Todd Capital. So yeah.
I tell people I do what I do for a reason. Like there's a reason why I invest this way, and I look really crazy in the moment, and then I look really smart. So,
Yup.
oh man, I'm gonna open it up, open the floor to people who want to ask questions. But we're not last time you guys had shiny hair all night. I'm not gonna keep it that long, but I want you guys to be able to ask questions. We'll run it maybe for like another 15 minutes, and we'll let her go get some sleep.
Yeah.
So go ahead and fire them off. I'm not sure how you guys did. I think you guys might have just like unmuted yourself or something, but it's up to you. If you want to unmute yourself and ask it, that's kind of cool. We can hear your voice as opposed to like typing. So I think you have to raise your hand or something. If you raise your hand, then I can like unmute you or something.
Shout out to you, Eva. Thank you so much. You're so sweet.
Shout out to Eva. Shout out to Layla in the building.
Yeah, Layla, the champion. Yes.
It's a, huh? Man, I definitely I can't even think of any other questions to ask you. I asked you the indicator questions. I asked you everything. And we laid the groundwork. This person says go broke investing. Well, Brandon Brown, I'm going to unmute you, Brandon Brown. I'm gonna find as soon as I find you. I think if I do it, it'll show like, let me see, participants. Brandon, I think you have to raise your hand, guys. It'll be easy if you raise your hands. Let's see. Brandon Brown.
Shout out to
There we
Dream
go.
Home.
Perfect. Look at that, man. All right, you should be able to unmute yourself now. There we
Right.
go.
How you doing tonight? You can hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yep.
All right, cool. I appreciate y'all, the community you set up for us, Todd, man. It's crazy. Yeah, we'll be able to do this during this time, so I appreciate it for sure. I have a quick question about taxes. I know a lot of people like to say like, "Well, I'm playing with house money and this and that," but I think they don't know because a lot of people's first year trading that they're gonna get hit crazy. So if you make $1 million and then you lose $1 million, IRS still gonna want 300,000 or something. Like,
So that's partly true, partly not true. You get taxed on your gains, but you also can write off your losses. So if you have a capital gain, you can deduct your losses. And so you're going to get this huge statement, and it's going to say like, this person, like it's actually so detailed that it shows like every single trade. And so let's say, for example, you make $1 million, but you lose $1 million, you didn't make any money. They can't tax you off of that. They can't like say, they can't go in your bank account and charge you $350. I want to kind of dispel that myth. But taxes are very real. So if you do make $1 million, you are going to owe taxes on that, and it's going to be long-term or short-term capital gains taxes. And short-term capital gains are taxed differently than long-term capital gains. And so the way that works is, let's say, for example, you own a stock and you hold it for a year and a day, it qualifies as a long-term capital gain. Long-term capital gains, I want to say, are taxed at about 35%. They're like ordinary income. No, that's reverse. Long-term capital gains, I think, are taxed at like 15 to 20%. It's a lower tax rate. They want to incentivize you to own something long-term as opposed to trading it. However, short-term capital gains are typically taxed as ordinary income. You're going to get hit at that 30 to 35% number. That said, I never want people to not earn money because they don't want to pay taxes. Just earn a lot of money. And so I paid my taxes on my 2018 stuff in like 2020. And you know what the money that I used to pay those taxes? Stock market money. So the rich don't work for money. You ain't out here paying for your taxes with working income. You're going to pay for it with more stocks. So I don't want people to be afraid of taxes. Taxes are very real. So prepare for them. Don't spend all the money. Because if you spend the money, that's a different story. If you make $1 million and you spend $1 million, then you're gonna owe 350. If you make $1 million and you lose it in the stock market, then not. Granted, of course, you can reduce your tax liability through business expenses. I've taken a few tax classes, one in law school, one in undergrad. You can write off, like, let's say, for example, you upgrade your computer. Let's say, for example, you purchase software. Let's say, for example, you have office space at home that is dedicated just to you trading. Those can all reduce your taxable income as a write-off, as a direct write-off, as a business expense. So taxes are real, but they're not as intimidating as people make them seem. Rich people don't decide to be less rich so they can not earn taxes. They're like, I'm gonna still get rich. I'm gonna just strategically get rich. And so we got to strategically run a bag up, not just haphazardly run a bag up. That's just my opinion. But thank you for that input, man. I think it is important that we have that conversation because a lot of people are asking that question. MLMCPA2@gmail.com. If you email her, she can help you out with any of that stuff. This question says, can you open an LLC? Let's see. It says, can you open an LLC, elect for S Corp, and use your LLC to trade? I believe you can. I think you can, and that might be a very intelligent way to do it. If you are an S Corp, the tax rate is significantly lower. But I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure the same thing is going to apply as it pertains to like long-term capital gains and short-term capital gains.
got you. Sorry, I'm still on mute. Yeah, so I appreciate that. And I heard someone say, I was reading something online that says if you're under an S corp, you can write off all the capital gains. I don't know how true that is, but I was reading something about that online. If you have an S corp and you're trading under it, and additionally, I thought it was only $3,000 that you can write off as losses, or is it any amount of losses you take?
To my knowledge, it's any loss because it's sort of like an income statement. So you're going to have your gains and you're going to have your losses. Capital gains, capital losses. To my knowledge, they don't cap that number. They might cap certain expenses that you can write off. I've never heard they cap your losses though.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah, because I mean, the government, they want to also incentivize investing, and they're only going to tax you on your income. If it's not income, you can't be taxed on it. Um, but I think we're going to put together a conversation with the CPA next week. And so we'll bring that to you guys because people that, and my mom, she keeps saying like, man, you guys need to be doing this tax planning because people been running up a bag, making all this money through options and e-com and affiliate marketing. So we will do that. That's what we'll do next week. We will have a tax conversation with a tax preparer, not a Charles person. I'm not a tax pro. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yo, that's gonna be lit. Wait a minute now. I'm gonna have to like block off my schedule or something. I need to hear this.
Yeah, I think it'll be helpful. That's what we'll do. We might even actually bring in multiple tax people, but we'll see. Because I know MLM CPA, she does stuff, and I know Ike. I'm not sure if you guys know him, but he specializes in doing certain tax things as well. Let's see. Save your tax questions for next week, Chandra. Open an LLC before I started trading. Do I need to amend my LLC to include? Yeah, that's going to be so my knowledge is if you have an LLC, that trading account needs to be under that LLC's EIN because at the end of the year, you're going to get a 1099. And that 1099 is going to be applied to your social security number, or it's going to be applied to an EIN if it's a business account. And so that's what they send to the IRS, and that's why the IRS is expecting you to file a return based off of that because they already got it. If they're going to send you a 1099 and it's not a secret, they sent the same thing to the IRS. So make sure that you don't just ignore it because it's real life out there. If you don't tell, they going to tell. So yeah, also don't file your taxes with these capital gains in a brokerage account and not report it because they're going to audit you guys. You know, just work harder and make more capital gains. But yeah, we're definitely gonna do that tax conversation. Let's see. Any other questions, guys? We only got Hunter live. I mean, you guys get her on the Q&A calls.
Yes, I need to upgrade my Zoom so that way I can do them longer than 40 minutes because I've been trying to like talk real fast. So I'm gonna try to run it
40
up.
minutes.
Get that Zoom.
There's a 40-minute limit.
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes. So like I'm talking
Yeah.
of light.
It's the free. I told y'all. I said upgrade it and I'll take care of it.
Oh,
And
I didn't even see
nobody
that.
believed
All right,
me.
bet.
Yeah, upgrade and I'll take care of it. Upgrade it to that, and then also, you need to upgrade it if you need more than 100 people to be in. If that's an issue for you, let me know, and we'll get you there. It shouldn't be that expensive. I think it's like $100 a month or something.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I got you.
so do that for us. This question says, how can we become admins? And the answer is add a bunch of value. Help people, share information, share resources, make yourself seen and known. And then you can be tapped. We definitely have space for more admins. The more people we bring in, the more admins we'll need. So come to me, and I mean, you might have to also be kind of recommended by another admin. So every time somebody even says they want to be an admin, I always bring it to the other admins. I'm like, what do you guys think? If they like you, then maybe we can have a further conversation. So I think the first thing is to kind of qualify yourself for the job before you even get offered the job. I don't want to just say like, okay, this person said they want to be an admin. I want to actually have seen you putting effort and energy into the community and helping people, because it's going to require a lot of selflessness. The admins do a lot. Like they do so much. I'm like, damn, you're doing this. I'm grateful. I think you guys are grateful, but they do. It's not like marching orders, right? It's not like, hey, you guys should do this. They just be like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And I think it's dope. I'm not against it at all. Any questions? Keep these questions going. We got 5 more minutes. Let's see. What are you looking at in this upcoming week? What kind of trades are you looking for?
Oh man. Okay, so honestly, right now I've been working on building out a whole position in VXX just in preparation for quad witching. Like I'm starting to reduce my positions, the ones that expire like in like October. I want to kind of get out of. I want to just be in strictly long positions or mostly cash balance, just so that way when it hits, I'm buying everything up at a discount and I'm holding it. And then I'm going to sell it to somebody when it's $1 billion and dip off.
Can you talk about quad witching for people who don't know what that means?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, quad witching is the expiration of all of the contracts for that particular quarter. So there's 4 quarters, right? One is coming up after this one in September. We had December, then there was September, then like June or March. Yeah, January, March, June. Yeah, March, June, September, December. So when all of those contracts expire, right? People are taking profit, people are selling their position, all that, so the market starts to tank. Well, at the same time, they're repositioning because everything is undervalued. So the whole market is just going like this, and it's like dropping. People are losing money left and right. But in reality, everything is on sale. So if you're sitting on a cash position or you're playing a volatility index, especially something like VIX, which is a short-term volatility index, you're going to be sitting pretty. Meanwhile, everybody else who's not hip is going to be hurting real bad.
So how long are the contracts that you're buying?
I'm in mostly, I would say like 70% of the contracts that I've purchased over the last couple of even months expire in like January 15th, 2021. I'm going like long. I actually had a 2022 in my account at one point. I was like,
People are
yeah,
like, you guys can do whatever you want, but you cannot expire on me.
no, at all. No, that theta, I hate theta so much.
Yeah. Um, what's the question I was going to ask you? Are you buying your options in the money or out of the money, and why?
Strictly out of the money. It's riskier, but the rewards I've found for at least the contracts that I've purchased are greater. And I'm mitigating that risk by buying time. So I understand that it's already within the fair value of the stock. I'm just giving the stock time to get there. I just let it creep up, do its thing, and I sit back on my hands no matter if it's a red day or a green day. I'm just going to hold it because I know that ultimately this stock, it's going to move up with the rest of the market unless it's a terrible company, which then I will probably exit the position long before that would actually clap the stock. So, yeah.
Can you give people a breakdown on the Greeks for people who haven't watched your video?
Yeah, for sure. So there's actually 5 Greeks, but we don't really, row is minimal. You don't really need to know all that much about row. It just has to do with options, contracts, pricing. But basically what you really want to know is delta, gamma, theta, and beta. So basically you have delta. When you look at delta, think delta dollars. For every $1 that the stock, right, the stock price, the share price goes up, you gain your delta. And delta is super great. It gives us our money. That's when you get excited and you see the profits rolling in, that's delta. But delta doesn't come alone. Delta has a best friend. And delta's best friend is gamma. So think delta dollars and gamma gains. Gamma basically for the second dollar, right? So after you moved up $1, you get your delta. The second dollar that it goes up, you get your delta again, but it's added with your gamma to make a larger delta. So basically, delta makes your wins or your gains larger, and like conversely, if the stock is going down, it shrinks your losses. So gamma is your best friend, right? Because it's taking away from your delta and taking away and taking away and making your delta super small. So that's why typically when you see stocks that are like or contracts that have really really small deltas, right, and like a really small gamma too, that's because the stock most likely has been trending down for a little bit of time, and it's just been gradually eroding at that delta. So those two are what we call price contingent because those don't really have an effect if they're over time, like volatility, those don't really affect it that much. The price of the stock itself is what really makes a difference for your delta, your gamma, right? So those are your price contingents. Next on the line, I believe, is your theta. And everybody hates theta, right? Theta is what kills our contracts, right? It's basically, you have to think of an options contract as a depreciating asset because it is. Every single day that you're holding this contract, you're not doing anything wrong, but it's losing value. And your theta is time contingent. Think theta time decay, TTD, theta time decay. Basically, the only way to shrink your theta down is by buying a contract that's long. So far from expiration. The further that it is from expiration, the smaller that your theta decay is going to be. which is why I play that out of the money extrinsic value strategy, because it mitigates my theta and it allows my contract to move closer to in the money over time. And I'm situated, I'm nice, I'm sitting pretty, right?
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that.
Good, you're good.
All right.
But yeah, theta time decay. Like that's just what you need to know about theta, right? And then vega is volatility, right? So basically, for a 1% increase or decrease in implied volatility, you're going to gain or lose your vega. And that's where IV crush comes in. So all of you guys that were playing earnings, like you have to be able to understand that your vega exposure is greatest at the money. So if you are going to play earnings, you need to get like Charles and you need to play in the money. So that way, if you correctly predict that it jumps up, you're going to be nestled deep in the money and you won't get clapped by implied volatility. You cannot apply my strategy to earnings, period. That's why I don't play it, because, right, it makes sense. As the like, this is the share price, as it moves closer and closer and closer, right? If it moved $200, but you're right there at the money, when your implied volatility falls, your vega is going to be big. So therefore, you're going to lose a lot more money and your contract is going to go right to zero. And you're going to go cry in the car. We don't like that. So that's really what you need to know about the Greeks. And if you can start to see that pattern on the Greeks, I'm telling you, it's going to run up your account in a big way. Like, knowing the Greeks is a huge thing. Getting a good entry and finding a stock, right, with good news around it and playing off of that news, I'm telling you, you can't go wrong. You don't have to have all the crazy 10 computer screens and all these indicators and things unless you want them. Like, that's all you need. It's a recipe for success.
I love it. I love it. I saw this question says, what new or interesting topics are you going to add to Gumroad?
Is that for you or for me?
I don't even know. But I'm gonna let you answer and I'll answer.
All right. For me, I literally don't know. Like, that's why I'm so big in this Q&A question and answer things that I do with you guys. Y'all gotta ask me or tell me what y'all want, because like, it is no big deal for me to go and study a topic or just to tell you what I know or whatever it is. Like, I don't know. This is the end of everything that everybody suggested. Like, after puts and implied volatility, I was like,
What do you have there that they can purchase?
So it's just so I actually made my Gumroad course based off of yours. And it was entirely based off of this actionable first steps for people, because when I noticed that, like, in the community, people understood everything. They're like, yeah, I got Charles's course. I understand it just fine. And then they're like, but now I don't know what I should do, or like, now what? And I'm like, okay, he showed you how to fish. Like, he shows you what it means. So let me be like I don't know. I call it yours like the meat, and I'm the potatoes. I just complement the meat. It's not the whole meal. It's just a little something extra to tide you over. So I'm just trying to teach people, one, strategy, two, different concepts in trading, and like three, just actionable first steps. And it comes with like homework and stuff. And I actually, Charles, have a little thing to tell you about some stuff I've been creating, some content to kind of drive this thing. I want to see us hit 10K before the end of the year, for real.
I love it. Let's do
it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
The bigger we grow, the more people get paid.
We love it. Hey, I'm never mad at that.
Let's see. Oh, so for me, I'm working on, I want to say, 2 Gumroad courses. One's going to be on affordable real estate investing, and then the other is going to be on, I knew I shouldn't erase that off my whiteboard. Affordable real estate investing is one, and I forgot the other one, but it's definitely coming. Let's see.
Oh,
Options
Shonda
can
and I
grow
have
to
some
10K.
to show you too, Charles. It's gonna be crazy. You're gonna love it.
We'll get on a call. I'm down. This question says, when is Todd Capital going to team up on Market Monday? I can't do Market Monday unless the team is there. So it's got to be me and the admins. We're like a boy band. So we're like boys to men. So that'd be cool. And actually, while they have reached out to us multiple times and directly. So they've reached out to us through somebody who's a part of the group, and they've also reach out to us directly. So it can happen. I think I kind of wanted to kind of watch Market Mondays and see what they were talking about and the people they were bringing on before I just kind of hopped out there, because EYO is a big platform, man. They had Dame Dash. I want to do Dame justice.
Yeah, you ain't lying. You are not lying. Woo.
So I think we need to get some Todd Capital community shirts. We'll make them like very, very affordable, like 10 to 12 bucks, just so we can have more camaraderie going on. We'll have to figure out like a cool slogan that we can put on there, and we'll just get those ordered and shipped out to people. But I think that we answered all the questions. I think we extracted a ton of value from Hunter. I appreciate you for taking time out of your evening to pour into the community. Any last words for the people?
Yeah, you guys, y'all are so smart. Y'all are capable. If nobody told you today or ever that they believe that you can do it and that the money that you want to make is out there for you, it's just for you to grab it. I'm saying it right now. Like, you are looking for a sign to tell you to not quit, to keep pushing. This is your sign. Like, you guys are so talented and so capable, but you have to give yourself a chance. Like, and if you ever need anything, I am one DM away. I don't care if this group has 10 million people in it. I love you guys. Y'all are just amazing. Y'all make it exciting to wake up in the morning. I get up before my alarm. So, you know, if you guys need anything, like, just shoot me a DM. I'm willing to break it down with you. This is what it's all about. It's a community. It's a family. It's not just like a group of people that just happen to trade options. Like, it's a family that trades options together. Like, we just happen to be trading options, but we are family. So that's all I got to say for you guys. Like, just keep believing, keep hope alive. We're going to get this, y'all. We're about to be rich out here. We're about to be rich out here.
A family that trades together gets paid together. I think that's what we'll put on the shirt.
Hey, yeah. Yes.
Shout out to billionaire Billy in the building. He's been doing crazy stuff. I think he did like $100,000 in like 3 months or something nuts. So shout out to him. Make sure you guys follow him on Instagram. Make sure you follow Hunter on Instagram. What's your Instagram? What's your Instagram name?
My Instagram is Hunter, like HUNTER_00.
Dope.
Yep. Twitter.
All right. You
Twitter's
guys have a good night.
CGLM or Hunter. What is it? Actually, yeah, it's Collie CGLM. Follow me on Twitter. You'll see me there more often than Instagram.
Dope.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for taking time to be with us, and we are out. I'll have the recording up in a minute.
See y'all.